can you imagine this whole wall from ceiling to floor filled with a masterpiece of Van Gogh? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. So the first thing we have to do here is prepare our wall, the surface itself. Now, if there are any imperfections in the wall that causes bumps and that sort of thing, you have to then prepare the surface, which means doing Rhino lighting, painting, or doing any fixes to the wall itself. Then do it beforehand so that your wall is ready, and make sure that it has no oils within the paint. Then it is ready to do wallpapering. Okay, so we're back here at my office from the AM warehouse, and we've already spoken about preparing the surface of that wall, which has been done. So the only thing we have to do now is artwork and print. So let's get to it. Alright, so here's our artwork provided to us by the customer. So the first thing we need to do is section this off according to the size panels we need to apply the wallpaper. Now, you always want to do wallpaper in lengths from minimum width, the panels that you're going to use, 800 being minimum, and then you can go all the way up to maybe around 950, but try not to go 1 meter wide, because when you're actually holding up your panel, the wider it is, the more difficult it is to actually place it, and the longer your arms are stretched out quite wide, which is not easy when it takes about maybe 10 minutes to do each panel. So the first thing we need to do is create our panels and make sure that they have overlapped each other by at least 20 to 30 mils bleed, so that you can line them up, and then we're going to cut them out section by section and then save them for print. So I've already worked out that I need 820 exactly for a 3.2 meter wall. And the edge panels are going to be a little bit smaller. These two in the middle are going to be 820, these two are going to be 810 with its bleed. And if I zoom in here, you can see that I've got the panels all lined up already. So if I start minimizing them, you can see this is going to be 810, then the next one's going to be 820, and then the next one's going to be 820. So now all we need to do is leave these up here and start cropping and actually saving them for print. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and select our background, as well as the first panel that we're going to do. Make sure you don't have them as objects anymore. Make sure you rasterize them, or if you are using Photoshop. Okay, so now that we've done that, we need to now deselect our actual panel, and then we are going to right click and we want to copy the panel. So now that we've done that, we can then minimize that one, because we're going to take all of them just now and save them individually. So now let's move to the next one, and all you're going to do is repeat the process. Right now I'm just selecting the actual inside of this rectangle, so that I can then select the background and copy just that amount of artwork, so that then we can shrink down our border and actually save each panel on its own for print. So this is the last panel. All I need to do is now push copy, layer via copy, and then we are going to do is minimize that, and as you can see, we'll be adding panel by panel until it's done. So now that we've done that, all we're going to do is now open a new page that is going to be much smaller in width. So we said the biggest was going to be 820. So let's go ahead and start doing panel by panel. So we'll do the first one, well, last one, doesn't really matter. And we're just going to make sure that it's center and we haven't lost any artwork. And there it is there. Just making sure. Okay, so it's within that. All we need to do now is go ahead and save each panel as a JPEG, ready for print. Alright, now that we've finished saving all of our artwork, we need to head on to our printer and start printing on our wallpaper. And today we're going to be using our Eco Solvent printer. I wouldn't use our UV printer, as again I've said in the past, UV is only on the top surface, so when you're applying, you're going to rub off your ink, whereas Eco Solvent embeds itself into the cotton surface of the actual wallpaper, so when you're applying, you don't actually scratch anything off. Okay, so now that we have finished printing all of our panels, now what we need to do is just trim all 4 sides on the panels. Make sure that there's no white left over, purely because you do not want that when you're overlapping each panel. If there is still a little bit of white left over, you'll definitely see it. So try and cut off a little bit of your actual ink rather. Even if you cut 1 mil in, you still got 20 to 30 mils extra for overlap, which is still perfect. So now it's time for installation. What you'll need is a very industrial strength wallpaper glue, which you can find at a hardware near you or a wallpaper supplier where you buy your wallpaper from. Sometimes they have the glue available. Then you'll need a ABS squeegee, so to speak, or something flat to apply the wallpaper once you've applied a decent amount of wallpaper glue to the wall first. Then you are going to start from the middle, or you can start from the sides. If you know what you're doing, you can do either, starting from the middle or the side. But if you're a rookie, I'd rather say start from the middle, because then you at least have time to correct yourself going to the sides. Whereas if you start from either left or right, you can go quite skew, and by the time you get to the other side, your wallpaper might not be able to be adjusted and you'll have to redo the whole thing. So keep in mind, when you're applying your wallpaper glue, you want to keep at least a 2 to 3 mil layer of glue on the wall, and then apply some to your wallpaper on the back as well as the front, and then you just start squeegeeing once you've lined up, and it is easy as that. Once you've done the first panel, lining up your second one, we've got the 20 to 30 mil bleed that you overlap in order for you to correct if you go a little bit skew, so that you can cut off a piece so that it can line up. Do not ever do a butt join with wallpaper, because wallpaper does shrink over time and then you will have a gap in between each layer. Once you've gone ahead and applied all your panels, give it a bit of time to dry, then squeegee into the corners so that you can get a straight edge, and then you can do your trimming process, and then you should be finished. So if you guys didn't know, this artwork here was done by a professional AI artist, and they did quite a cool thing here. Everything that we have here is added in on top of and has been integrated quite well, such like the Buy This Express, the am.co.za, the sales, and then we've even got a whole bunch of crates with machinery in, a silk screen, a 3D printed roll of plastic, and a full set of inks. And then as it goes up the road, winding up the artwork, we have got the am.co.za headquarters in the background, and it looks fantastic the way it's been done. So guys, the 3 meter by 4 meter Van Gogh masterpiece is finally finished, and boy does it look spectacular. If you do not think so in the video, then I suggest you come through to AM's headquarters in Johannesburg and have a look yourself, and thank you for watching this video.